You're listening to the We Are Libertarians podcast network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome everyone to this Prelude edition of Profiles in Liberty. This is going to be our latest show here on the We Are Libertarians podcasting network, hosted by yours truly, Caleb Franz. I wanted to take the time here in this episode to let you know a little bit about myself, kind of do an overview of the show and what my intention with it is. I'll give you a little preview of the season in front of us and the direction that we're going for that, and a few other projects that we have in the works. So first and foremost, my name is Caleb Franz. You may be familiar with some of my previous work in the podcasting realm. My last podcast that I hosted was Mill Liberty. It was a great show where we talked about the ideas and how to properly communicate the message of liberty. I got to meet some really great people through that program and talk to really some of my heroes through that program as well. And I had a great time doing it, but I got a little bit burnt out with the politics side of it. I didn't feel like that was actually providing any value. First of all, politics shows are a dime a dozen. Everyone has an opinion, and that doesn't seem to be, at least to me, it didn't seem like it was a good use of my time, and I felt like I was stagnating. Compared to this show, which we did do some history-oriented episodes, and personally, those were my favorite to make. And that kind of served, and it kind of set up the idea that might be a good format for an entire podcast as a whole. So I came up with the idea. I reached out to Chris here at We Are Libertarians about telling the story of the heroes of liberty. I believe that heroes are vital for us, not just as libertarians, not just as people who, whatever you may describe yourself as, anyone who loves the ideas of personal freedom, maximum freedom, the ideas of liberty. Having heroes is a really important step in that process, because heroes inspire us. Heroes show us a standard that we can try to live up to. And I think oftentimes libertarians are a little bit bad at pointing out everyone's flaws. Sometimes it's warranted, other times it's more of the purity test. And it kind of ruins people's perception of their heroes, and we don't have anyone truly to look up to unless they're maybe a dead economist, which no ill will towards any of those individuals. But we do have in both American history and world history, we have some incredible people to look up to. As a shining example of how to live the ideas of liberty and how to fight for and advocate for those ideas. And we need to look at their examples. We need to look at their failures, where they stumbled, and we need to see how they got through those failures, how they got through those roadblocks in their lives. On this show, we are going to be going over people who I consider to be strong champions of freedom from very different eras of American history and world history. Primarily, of course, I am a little bit more well-versed in American history, so that's kind of where we're going to be getting. I also tend to believe that despite all its faults and failures, America is still a really good place to be, and it has such a rich history about liberty. And the times that we have faltered or failed was not because that we were never conceived in the notion of liberty. It was because we failed to live up to those ideas. But those ideas were still the foundation that we were born on, still the foundation that this nation was conceived on. So because of that, and because our show here is going to be debuting on July 4th weekend, the Thursday right before July 4th, our first season is going to be on the signers of the Declaration of Independence. Now, some of these individuals I'm sure you will have heard of. Some of these individuals I know most of you probably haven't. I mean, there might be some history buffs in the audience tuning into this program. But my goal with this season in particular is I want to highlight heroes that you may have never heard of that deserve to earn your attention. And then for the ones that you have heard of, I want to set the record straight on some of these individuals, because many of them have, I believe, either been slandered or people have tried to downplay their legacy, whether it be historians or politicians or activists today, to try to make them seem as if they were more despicable, more malicious than what they were taught about in school. And I am not the kind of person who wants to carry the water for someone if they truly were a terrible person. I don't think that we should be propping up people who don't deserve it. And I will never be doing that in this program. Not everyone in this show will be perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And almost everyone will have faltered on trying to achieve greater liberty at some point in their lives. Make no mistake about that. However, the failures of these individuals is not the point. That's not what makes you a hero of liberty, in my opinion. What makes you a hero of liberty is if you do fail, you keep going, and everything that you are doing, whether or not I agree with it or not, is to make people free. If that is your mission, I still consider you to be a hero of liberty. Some of these individuals were great heroes early in their lives, and then through circumstances and the politics of their day later in life, they stumbled pretty hard. Other people, it's the exact inverse. But each and every one of these individuals, especially with the signers of the Declaration of Independence, as we will be going over in Season 1, each and every one of these individuals will have made positive contributions to the ideas of liberty. I want to give people heroes that they can look to. We live in a time where people of all political strides are trying to tear down true heroes. We're getting to a point to where there's nobody that we can look up to inspire us, to show us a pathway forward. But more dangerously than that, I would argue, is that as we were doing this with individuals who did have great faults, but were great champions of liberty, what is going to be the case when our grandchildren look back at us? Nobody is without fault. Nobody can be held to the same standard of modern day as what they were held to in their day. We're setting ourselves up to be looked back at in history as malicious monsters. That is no way to push ourselves forward as a nation, as a society, in the world. If we're constantly tearing down heroes throughout history and applying their life to our modern moral standards, nobody will ever live up to it. But if we can recognize that the individuals who do have flaws also had foresight and tried to build a better world, not for themselves, although they did do that as well, not just for themselves, but for us to live in. Our world is free because of those, mostly free, because of those who came before us. That is worthy of praise, in my opinion. Each season in this program will be touching on a very particular theme. The first theme, as I had mentioned before, is the signers of the Declaration of Independence. As we move forward, we will be expanding our horizon and showing you heroes that aren't just all white men, showing you heroes that no matter where they are, no matter what their background was, liberty is something that everyone can fight for. So with that, I hope that you tune in. I hope that you get excited about this program, because I certainly am. In the meantime, I highly encourage you to sign up for my Substack. That will be a newsletter that will go directly into your inbox. It's Caleb Franz from Profiles in Liberty. And with that, I will be not only giving you updates and insights, and you will get exclusive, or at least first look information at where we're going with this program. But also, it's going to be a little bit more than that, because I will be giving either personal updates or I'll be giving book references. And then, most importantly, the most exciting thing that I'm going to be doing with this is that at the end of each newsletter, there will be stories, history stories that might not necessarily make it into this program, but I still think is fun or entertaining. So with that being said, I hope you tune in, and I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback, and I am excited to hear from you soon.